So I think we are slowly getting close to 8 o'clock when we're supposed to start. Maybe someone who is close to the light could help to see if we can see the slide a little bit better. Maybe I think there is some middle lights that we maybe can switch off. But yeah, please take your time, that's fine. Okay, well, that's possible too, yes. But there is actually also a panel on the side without the lights as well, like a switch. Maybe just switch those ones on, and then we don't need any other light. Yes. Then we can even switch this one off. Maybe? Is that okay? Okay, what's the time? Yeah, probably we are ready to start. Ready for the live stream as well. Okay, very good. So, welcome everyone to Jhana Grove Retreat Center. I think a lot of you have been here before. Welcome also to another Relax and Grow retreat. We didn't do one last year, didn't work out, but we are back this year. So it's nice to see you again. I mean, I can't see you that well at the moment, but I did see the list of people, and I met some of you when you were coming here, and it's a lot of familiar faces. When you've been at Bodhidhaja or in the BSWA for a while, yeah, you get to know the people. And we traveled in India actually together also with some of the people recently. So that's very nice. Anyway, do you want to say something for the start? Or?
Yeah, since a while we did a retreat at Jhana Grove. Most of the retreat that we conducted is usually overseas, mainly in Malaysia. And yeah, hopefully we can do more retreats in Jhana Grove. There's also one that's not confirmed in the new SOS Retreat Center at Newbury Buddhist Monastery in Victoria. So, yep. So once they get things organized, there might be one there next month. But other than that, retreats are very special because when you stay in the monastery, usually you do a lot of practice by yourself. But in a retreat center, everything is fully set up where you have the maximum time and everything is taken care of. So you see on the retreat, we normally keep noble silent. So that do make things quite easily. But also when we are basically not, the practice is basically all through the day and night. It's not just sitting down and watching your breath. It's basically practicing mindfulness. So when you're not sitting meditation, you should be mindful and aware and clear. Because sometimes people tend to think that if you just sit meditation, that's all you need to do. But when you're not sitting meditation, then you should be practicing mindfulness. So being mindful of the four postures when you're lying down, when you're sitting, when you're standing, and also when you're walking. So we are mindful of these four postures, also mindful of our mind, our body, our feeling, then mindful of Dhamma or mind objects. So these four foundational mindfulness is a foundation of the Eightfold Path. So sometimes if you're mindful and you're calm, you fully know and you're fully aware what you're doing. So the mind is calm, but it's very peaceful and fully aware. So we are here to basically practice this 4 foundation of mindfulness. When the mind is calm, it's peaceful, but it's fully awake and clear, and you know what's happening when you wake up, when you go to the toilet, when you brush your teeth, when you open the door, when you come for breakfast, when you eat, when you're walking, when you're listening. Your mind is fully aware. So basically, it's bringing the mindfulness back to this body, because the body is the most easiest object to be aware of. So your mind is not out into the world, thinking about what's happening in the world. You're basically just within this body and in this mind. So mindfulness of the body is basically the easiest way to practice mindfulness. So when you're lying down, you know you're lying down. When you're breathing, you know you're breathing in and out. And when you're sitting down, you know that you're sitting down. When you're taking a shower, everything you do is a chance to practice. So in practicing mindfulness of the body is one of the easiest ways just to practice mindfulness of right now. So we're here to basically, to be present in this moment and to be fully aware. When you're fully aware of this body, then you become very mindful. Then your mind becomes calm and peaceful, and you become awake. Because we are thinking about past and future, we're not awake. We still have a lot of busyness and duty with the world and with our family and friends. But now you're here, you basically have a lot of time just to be by yourself and be with yourself and be very mindful of your 5 senses, and especially on your body and your mind. Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I actually have a few slides. So this is one thing that I came across recently. So Bianca, that probably a lot of people know, she was the retreat manager for years and years and years and years. And she gave us some Dhamma books. And in those Dhamma books, every now and then, there were things between the pages. And that's one of the things I found in between the pages. From Venerable Santi Dhammo, I think it is. I don't even know that monk. It must be a while ago. And also her husband's name is on the letter there. But she had a quote, and I found that quote would be very, very good to start things off. And I did know this quote from before, but there was more to the quote this time. So the one thing that I knew and that you might know as well is, if you let go a little, you will have a little peace. If you let go a lot, you will have a lot of peace. If you let go completely, you will know complete peace and freedom. Very beautiful, very simple, but straight to the point. But you see there is a gap at the beginning and there's a gap at the end. And on that piece of paper that Venerable wrote, there was more. That was actually very important. The beginning part of that quote was, do everything with a mind that lets go. Do not expect any praise or reward. So that's kind of the first step that we sometimes forget. And if we forget, then we can't practice the thing in between that I read out before. The letting go. People so often ask, how do I let go? So we have to put the causes into place for letting go to be able to happen. And then once it happens, it has an effect. It has a result. And the result that Ajahn Chah said is your struggles with the world will come to an end. I really like the word struggles in there, because our job is not to change the world. It's really difficult. Sometimes it's possible when it starts from within. But if we struggle, that's when we have already lost the battle. So the struggling is the tricky part. So during this retreat, whenever you struggle, you can ask yourself, what I'm struggling with? Why am I struggling? Struggling is the opposite of letting go. So the question might be, what are we actually letting go of then? That's what Ajahn Ganha was teaching us when we were in Thailand recently. Prem was there with us at the same time for 3 days. And he was just pounding this point again and again. He was saying it's the sense of self. It's the ego. And it does make sense. But what does that mean? Another way of expressing that means the defilements. They cause all that struggle. They cause all that strife. They cause all that problem. It's the unwholesome actions and it's the unwholesome speech that is driven by the sense of self, by the defilements. And then eventually also the unwholesome views, the unwholesome perceptions, thoughts and motivations. But we have to start at the right end, and that's the beginning there. So we restrain, we understand what's going on with our actions and with our speech. And that's what we do in a retreat. We don't speak. And we don't act abruptly or quickly. So we calm things down, so we understand much more what is going on. And we understand what's going on in our hearts, if something is wholesome or unwholesome. So we can adjust it. What else are we letting go? Of course, Bhante Cunda mentioned that. The 3 big things, or the 2 big things usually it is, the past. And that might mean a lot of different things. I just, it's not exhausting, this list, but what came to mind for me to mention now is hurt, blame, shame, resentment. That's what drives the sense of self. That's what drives the defilements. So if we can just let that be in the world for now, for our retreat together here. So just let that go and don't engage with it. Then of course the future is the other big one. And the things that came to mind for me to mention here is the anxiety, is the expectations, is the insecurities, where we're looking for a result or we try to resolve something, looking into the future. So let's see if we can let go of that as much as possible during this weekend retreat. And whenever it comes up, don't be angry or resentful about it. Just recognize and then try to put it down and see how long you can leave it there without getting involved and engaged. But then, I have a third one that is not talked about so much. So we also let go in the present. What does that mean? What could that mean? It means letting go of the struggle that was mentioned before. Letting go of controlling. Letting go of forcing. Letting go of reactivity. Letting go of confusion. And that often happens with confusion by accepting it, by just listening to it, by letting it be. And then it will become less and less, the energy it has will become less and less. So we are letting go, we are giving up. It's another way of talking about letting go, but letting go is usually like you. But giving up is kind of from the other side. And the other big word there is forgiveness. There is giving in there as well. And that's what I wanted to do at the beginning of the retreat, to have a little kind of ceremony, to let go, to give up, to forgive. But just to the extent that is possible. We don't expect any kind of like miracles. But if we don't try to put things down again and again and again and see how that feels and how it affects us, we won't know how it actually works. So we don't just let go of things. At the same time, we nourish and cultivate things. So we nourish and cultivate unconditional acceptance, that I mentioned before, and kindness, very, very important. We nourish and cultivate care, empathy, empowerment. We cultivate and nourish rejoicing in and appreciating goodness, virtue, within ourselves and in other people as well, and the world around us. There's so much goodness around. We often don't see it. So now you can actually watch and see if you can find some good things out there. And then the last one is understanding, is wisdom, is balance, and is peace. Have any of you recognized what those 4 categories are that I'm talking about? No? Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekkha. That's the Pali terms for those 4 things that I tried to describe. So that's what we develop and what we cultivate. And when the mind has let go of selflessness, when it is pure, when it is happy, when it is calm, then those things are there naturally. But it's good to cultivate them as well. So what we are, basically, if you want to put it in one word, what we are nourishing and what we're cultivating is wisdom, is understanding. Wisdom, very often in Buddhism, is represented as light. And when I wrote the word light, also delight kind of came to mind. And that's what the ceremony is all about, that I would like to do with you soon. So you might have already seen the candles outside that I did light on the 2 stupas. So I have some kind volunteers who will go and prepare the candles for us now while I explain a little bit more what we are going to do. So Bhante Cunda was talking about maintaining mindfulness in whatever you are doing. And sometimes when we sit down and meditate, we think we have to achieve something, or we think we have to force something, we think we have to do something. But actually these things should happen more and more naturally as we get used to meditation. And one beautiful way of practicing that is walking meditation. Is being aware of when you're moving around. And it's a very, very good practice to transition, to slow down, to come into sitting meditation. And it's a very good transition again out of the sitting into more activity. But it's not a second-hand practice. It's not just the transition. It's also a very important and valuable practice in itself. When you walk mindfully, kindly, aware, with calmness, with wisdom and understanding, then mindfulness grows. Then energy and happiness gets cultivated, gets activated, grows basically. So we have almost 70 jars out there, because I thought there is probably also a few people who might have come from the monastery to listen to this talk tonight. So it's a very simple task. It's just to go outside, find one jar, and then we will do 2 lines, and Bhante Cunda will lead one and I'll lead one, and then we'll go around the stupa outside there one time, and then we'll put the candle on the stupa, and please take it, put it on the second kind of tile, so it's not too close to the grass. But I've already put some, so you will know where they go. And then just see if you can tune into what's going on. And maybe reflect on a little bit what I was saying. The two aspects, letting go. We're letting go of something, we're putting it onto the stupa. So if there is anything which is bothering you or anything you would like to kind of leave behind for this weekend, this is a beautiful way of doing something physically, of giving, forgiving, putting it down. And then the other aspect is the light, the wisdom that the candle represents. So we're basically reminding ourselves that we are committed to wisdom, to developing understanding and kindness, to bring light into the darkness. And that's also the encouragement for the people at home who are watching this. I don't know if you have a garden or if you have a shrine or whatever. We will stop the video and we will do our thing. So I encourage you to do your thing as well. It's very, very important to have some ceremonies, to have some physical things sometimes to remind us. So that's what we're going to do. And if for some reason you don't like to do that, you're very welcome to just come outside and just see what's going on and observe. So it's an invitation. No one has to do it. But we've done this before and people told me it was actually a very nice thing for them to do. And it kind of helps you to draw a line from where you came from and where you're going into. It's kind of a nice little transition for all of us. Okay, so we'll see you outside soon.